Tien is one of the most underused and underrated characters in the Dragon Ball universe. He deserves credit for so many of the cool techniques we saw debut in Dragon Ball, and in my opinion, he just doesn't get the recognition he should. Probably because he's attached to a loser like Chaozu, but anyway, we're not here to talk about Chaozu. So for those of you that want to comment later,
you didn't even talk about his best friend.
Look, we all know who Chaozu is, but in this video, it ain't about Chaozu. So first off, let's just all understand that Tien is a devoted and dedicated martial artist, perhaps even more so than Goku at the beginning of the series. When it comes to the very short list of Earthling level fighters who have a level of respectable power, Tien is for sure at the top of the list. Now, he's an Earthling, but he technically isn't human. He's from an alien Triclops race that specializes in opening the third eye. His lore, racial background, and design is most obviously derived from ancient Chinese tradition and is very much similar to the training and teachings of Shaolin monks in monasteries and in Chinese culture. So Tien entered the Dragon Ball scene as an enemy and arch nemesis of Kid Goku, which, I mean, let's face it, that's the basic origin story of pretty much all the Z Warriors. But Tien was actually trained by mercenary Tao, who was his mentor and master at the Crane School of Martial Arts. And we all know that mercenary Tao was banished to the Shadow Realm and defeated by Kid Goku, and Tien was determined to get revenge. But Roshi was able to get him in line like, yo, you gotta relax. Your sensei was a goofball, and that's why he's dead. So Roshi was able to get him on board, and Tien basically joins the Legion of Riz. And by the time Dragon Ball Z rolls around and the Saiyans show up, he's one of the strongest Earthlings on the squad. No, actually, he is the strongest Earthling on the squad, with Krillin coming in at a close second, and Yamcha somewhere below the bottom of hell. So Vegeta and Nappa show up, and Tien ends up facing off against Nappa, who literally hits him so hard that he breaks off one of his arms. Yo, like, bro, this was a traumatic moment as a kid, because you realize that Tien is not part Namekian. Like, he can't just grow that arm back, But still, even with one arm, he fights anyway, and ends up fighting to the point where he depletes his life force and just dies. So throughout the show, we get to see Tien pull off some pretty cool techniques in Dragon Ball. He creates the solar flare, the tri-beam. His race is the race responsible for creating the multi-form technique. Like, even if Tien isn't top tier in power level when it comes to the Dragon Ball universe, because I mean, let's be real, nobody's really catching up to Goku and Vegeta, even though Krillin was somehow throwing hands with an evolved god tier Goku. That's a subject for another video. But for an Earthling type, Tien is definitely not to be slept on, right? The idea that a human sub-type level character could stand toe-to-toe with a high-class Saiyan warrior was impressive. And he faced off against Nappa, and it was an ugly battle. It's hard not to get pushed into the shadows, too, when the homies are literal gods, right? But Tien's moment in the sun would arrive in the Cell Saga. I don't think there's anyone out there that would disagree that this moment right here, solidify Tien in the I'm Him Hall of Fame. Now, just to be clear, we have to put this moment into full context. Tien showed up to the Cell Saga ready to burn out for the squad. He took on an evolved, imperfect Cell who had just absorbed number 17, who for reference was stronger than number 18, who made easy work of Super Saiyan Vegeta. Now, using his most powerful attack, the Tri-Beam, he was able to use his own life force and combine it with the attack to power the technique up, producing an attack powerful enough to stop and hold off an imperfect Cell so that number 16 and 18 can escape. Now, to be able to effectively halt Cell in its tracks at this level was a feat that is often overlooked and undervalued. Although Dragon Ball's power scale is often inconsistent, it's reasonable to assume that Tien at this stage could severely damage or possibly even kill a Super Saiyan level fighter, assuming he could land his most powerful tri-beam attack. I don't think that's absurd to say. Now, after the infamous Cell Saga, Tien appears in the Buu Saga briefly to save Dende, and then releases the tri-beam once more at full power on Super Buu, though he is unable to do any damage at all. These moments are meant to really show the gap disparity between the villain and our heroes, but I wish that there was more respect shown to the training regimen and hard work of lesser characters like Tien to show a deeper level of progress in his training. After he is literally kicked out of the battle by Super Buu from half of his body, he fades yet again from the series until he manages to make his way back into the mix for the Tournament of Power, in which he represents Universe 7 and faces off against Harmira. And in this battle, he is able to secure a double KO by using the multi-form clones to tackle Harmira of Universe 2 off of the stage, eliminating him, although Tien himself is also eliminated. This moment actually garners Tien the respect of Beerus the Destroyer, as he tells him he has nothing to be ashamed of. And, having the respect of a literal god of destruction further lends to the fact that despite his inability to keep pace with the power level of the Saiyans, Tien Shinhan is still in his own right a formidable fighter who should be respected and acknowledged as a warrior.